with Excite Media's new Well, here we are on the kick on this Thursday morning, and would you believe it doesn't matter whether it's rain, hail, or shine, we're going to bring you a great program to help you grow your business. Now, if you're watching the program live anywhere in Brisbane, then you pretty much know that we've kind of had that big rain bomb, as they called it. It's now moving down the east coast. Really concerned for some of the areas that I believe Sydney is in line next, but certainly Aussies, they come through in the hard times, and now it's the Mud Army 2.0 that are getting ready to hit the streets and start tidying up. But would you believe normally the average Queenslander expects those afternoon thunderstorms, but today is 6:30 in the morning, they're starting to roll around, and the Bureau of Meteorology is saying we could be having more through the day. Certainly the clouds are showing it. But we're still here. We're live on the kick, and I'm going to be talking to you very shortly about website maintenance. So stay with us, because we have got a very special guest from our team to help us out there. One of the things that we wanted you to know is that you can actually ask us questions on the show, and we'll try to answer them. Now, today we're going to be having Andy from our Excite Care support team is going to be here. So if you'd like to get involved and ask a question, then please jump on board, and we'll make sure that those questions go live, and we'll try to answer them, as long as you're not expecting something in triplicate and paperwork on your desk in the morning, that type of thing. But listen, let's bring Andy into the show. Andy, thanks very much for joining us on the kick. And you are not in your raincoat, you're not in your Wellingtons, a bit of a pommy thing there. So you're pretty good as far as the weather's concerned at the moment?
Mate, I am sitting pretty here. I live up on the north side of Brisbane, and this morning, from about 2:00, those storms were rolling in up here. I had a Labrador come into the bedroom and say, "Hey, guys, there's a storm about." And then just as we got him settled, I've got a 4-year-old toddler who then heard the thunder and needed some attention. But our new baby, 4 months old, slept through the night. So 2 out of 3.
That's good training. It's funny, I woke up early as well, and I went around looking. We've got cats. Couldn't find them anywhere. Still yet to find out whether they've hidden themselves in furniture or what the story is. But good news is we've got a little bit of quiet. Normally I'm used to doing the show on a Thursday when there's a rubbish truck making noise outside. Now we're waiting for lightning and thunder. But Andy, you're on the show to help us understand this topic that we look at when it comes to website care and maintenance. And one of the great services that Excite Media provide our clients is that we've got a support team. And we're going to have a look at some of the dashing photos in a moment. But tell me, how long have you been involved in WordPress and helping people out with their websites?
Look, I've been using WordPress a very long time. Back in the day, I've been building websites. I tell people I've been building websites almost since before there was an internet. I've been kicking around online for a very long time. So I think my first full-time actual paid job for building websites was in 1998. So that's quite a while, but a lot has changed in that time. And one of the business models for web developers in the early 2000s was, here's your website. Oh, if you need to make a change, you're going to have to pay us to do that for you, because, this is very complicated stuff, this HTML business, and we want to keep it to ourselves. So that didn't sit all that well with me. And I actually, created a very rudimentary content management system, CMS, we call them, which would allow the customers to log in and change like a price or some wording on the pages. It was all very simple. And then WordPress came along. And so I think when I was trying to work this out before, I think, from maybe 2008-ish, I've been using WordPress primarily for website builds. I could count, since I discovered it, I could probably count on one hand the number of websites I've built that didn't use WordPress. So it's very robust, very powerful program. It's sort of outgrown its roots as a blogging platform, which is where it began, and now 40% plus of the entire internet is built with WordPress websites.
It's amazing, isn't it? Listen, it's something that people will already be picking up on screen. Andrew Pitchford, Andy Marks. Excite Media seems to attract people with the same names. We've had the two Nicks. We've got Laura's, Lorian, Laurens at the moment. But you and me
That is
are Andrew
confusing.
and Andy. And I guess that brings us about that really we're B1 and B2 in terms of trying to tear us apart. But if you've been building websites since 1998, well, certainly you've held your hair better than I have over that period of time. So congratulations. I want
Thank
to
you.
get a bit of a sense of your background as well. Now, outside of fixing WordPress websites, we've got this kind of photo on our team page at Excite Media. Tell us why we've got this. You're about to go bush?
I have been a volunteer firefighter since probably about the time I discovered WordPress, probably 2005, 2006, that sort of time frame. I was living out near the bottom of Mount Tambourine. And one Christmas, I was talking to my auntie and uncle who were in the SES. And I said, oh, yeah, I should really volunteer for the SES. That looks like it's interesting. And they said, no, it's pretty boring. Go and check out the Rural Fire Brigade. And luckily, just around the corner from where I lived, there was one. So I joined up with the Logan Village Rural Fire Brigade. Now that I'm on the north side of Brisbane, I was part of the Narangba Rural Fire Brigade. I'm actually on hiatus at the moment since we now have a 4-month-old. It makes it a bit difficult to get out of the house, but I'll be returning to duties shortly.
Well, one of the things that we know is that the Excite Media team is made up of a number of different people with incredible different diverse backgrounds, from music to movie collectibles. So do feel free to visit our team page and have a hover over some of the different characters that are here. But yeah, if you do go down to Andy's page, there you go, getting the gloves on, ready to go out for work. Hey, Andy, we want to get onto this whole topic of what is the situation regarding looking after a website. And a lot of people would feel that you build the website and nothing's going to go wrong. You just leave it. So why do we look at things like maintenance programs? Why are they so important in terms of taking care of our website and the business that it supports?
Look, the analogy I use in when this conversation comes up is the mechanic, or the car dealership. So you buy a new car, you roll it off the lot, you drive around, and then something goes wrong. You get a flat tire, or there's a speck of paint missing, or something catastrophically goes wrong. You take it back to the dealer and you go, hang on a sec, hey guys, what's going on here? Can you fix this for free, type of thing. So look, the gist of it is, the longer a website's around, the more likely that there have been changes to the behind the scenes code. So WordPress itself is always changing, but on top of WordPress, one of the reasons WordPress is so popular is it allows you to add functionality using these things called plugins. So by default, for example, a WordPress website doesn't have a contact form, so you add a contact form plugin to bolt on that functionality. So there are a lot of moving parts, and as WordPress moves forward, then some of these plugins also have to move forward. Over time, some plugin developers decide, look, this is too hard, I'm not going to continue this project. There are a lot of WordPress plugin projects that are just hobbies, but if they provide the functionality that you're looking for at the time, quite honestly, if the plugin does the job, it'll get installed and used, type of thing. So over time, things do change. Sometimes a vulnerability will be discovered in the code. A lot of plugins use, say, a JavaScript library or something like that, which the plugin developers didn't write from scratch. They used it so they can efficiently build the plugin that they've been working on. So there's the possibility of a vulnerability. There's the possibility of two technologies no longer playing nicely together, which can cause issues. So what we try and do with every website that we build, we offer the Excite Care product, which allows us to take care of that ongoing maintenance. So we're effectively a mechanic for your website.
I think the car's a really good analogy because, like a car, there are some things that wear out quickly. You might go through a set of tires before you go through a set of brakes, or vice versa, and the engine may need really big work coming around every 3 to 4 years. So certainly servicing and things, I think, is a great example. Now, we're going to be talking about how Excite Media has the Excite Care plans. Now, if we go to our website, let's flick over to there. You can actually visit this page on our website, excitemedia.com.au/excitecare-plans. And this actually gives you an outline of some of the programs that are available to our clients so that we can actually take care of it. Now, there's actually a team of people that are behind that. I'm going to get you to introduce the team in a moment so that we can actually have a talk about this program. But obviously, having something methodical like your car idea, getting it serviced regularly is important. We've got 3 different levels: basic, security plus, and ultimate. And when it comes to security plus, we actually give that for free for the first 2 months when a website goes live. But let's have a look at the team behind it first of all. Andy, this is the crew that you work with. Can you give us a bit of background as to what you guys are up to each day and what everybody does?
Yeah, look, I only joined Excite Media 6 months ago, so I've been fast-tracked into the support team. Mikey is the backbone of the support team. He has been, with Excite quite a number of years now, and he takes care of a lot of the methodical fixes and updates. We do have a fourth guy, I guess now, who his task, his name's Arby. His task is to actually log into everybody's website. Everyone's website gets looked at every single month, and he will work through the updates manually. So a lot of care plans that are offered these days are done automatically, and there can be a lot of issues when you push an update through. If an issue occurs, it can take a while for those issues to be found. So Arby takes care of that sort of stuff for us. Mikey runs the support team, and Scott is one of the founders of Excite Media. So he's been here from the start, and he has an extensive knowledge of WordPress and especially JavaScript. Mikey and I lean on him with our JavaScript questions as they come through.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a look at some of the programs. We start off with the basics program here. Can you give us a bit of background as to what people are getting when there we go back to that one, when they're actually on the basics?
Look, the basics is that basic mechanic product to look after your website. So the main feature, whenever you come up with any kind of issue, one of the safest things you can do to fix it is to actually restore a backup. So the basics plan backs up your website every day. We take care of all those updates. They're done at least every month. You get some training videos to learn how to get the most out of WordPress, phone and email support, and then you have access to our plugin licenses. So we've got an extensive library of licenses worth, if you were to buy them yourself, more than $1,000 per year. Now, those licenses are for plugins that some plugins may not be required, but I think the last time I looked, there was $600 per year of licenses that nearly every website should have. There's the contact form, a caching plugin, a security plugin, that sort of thing. So look, that's value all by itself. And then we can also liaise with your hosting company to take care of getting the most out of your hosting platform. So, for example, sometimes we may determine that you need a bump in memory or you need a little bit more space. So we liaise with your hosting company to sort that out.
And if we move up to the Security Plus, which is very popular with a lot of people, you're starting to get quite a bit of value added into this. So this is the basics program with the add-ons and all the steroids that you could appreciate without getting in trouble with the sporting authorities.
Yeah, that's right. No doping problems at Excite Media. We go from a weekly backup to a daily backup, and that is hugely important. So if, for example, no matter what we put in place that to prevent your website from being hacked, for example, it's always a possibility. If a vulnerability slips through before we can sort that out, or even if you use the same password for everything, which is still an issue these days, that can lead to a website being hacked. So the safest way to fix that is to actually roll back to yesterday's backup. I think we run our backups usually around 2 a.m. So, if you notice that at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock type of thing, then you haven't lost too much in the way of data. So we would roll it back and then investigate to find out how, in fact, your website was hacked. But that daily backup is a gold mine. It can sort out many issues. The other thing when it comes to backups is the last thing you want to do is store your backup in the same hosting account that just got hacked. So, if your website's compromised, potentially your backups can be compromised, deleted, defaced, that sort of thing. So our program will back up your website and then store it safely in an offsite storage location and can be restored at the click of a button.
That's brilliant. And I see here that we're actually starting to get some 30 minutes of work. So if you're the type of person that's busy or you're not comfortable going into a website, part of your package is that you can get the Excite Media team to do some of those basic changes. What are some examples that you might deal with on a monthly basis, Andy, with some of our clients?
Look, a lot of that stuff can just be as simple as content changes. So, we encourage people to send those through, especially if you're on an Excite Care plan, simply because we're in WordPress every single day. We can make those changes far more efficiently than if you're just logging in once in a blue moon. So sometimes when you add a new page and you want to add it to the navigation, that might squeeze up a few things, so you need some formatting changes on there. But every now and then someone will ring up and say, look, how do I get my website to do this? Or, I have an e-commerce store, I now want to attach it to Slack or Afterpay or something like that. So we can use that 30 minutes to either investigate a solution or it can be taken off the cost of implementation. But, something like the examples I just mentioned, many of them can be done inside of those 30 minutes. So it's a very useful part of the Excite Care plan.
And put that in perspective, that basically takes around $80 off the cost if you're using that, makes the Security Plus plan very cheap. Now, if we move into the Ultimate plan, now we're getting 60 minutes worth of work and a few other things. Why would we move into an Ultimate plan? Is this for very complex websites?
Look, this would be primarily for people who run an e-commerce website. So to give you an example or a hypothetical, if you had a website and you're making sales, let's say you're making a sale every hour or so on your website. If that website you find out at 12 p.m. your website's been hacked, if we were to restore the 2 a.m. backup, then all the sales data in that time would be removed because it's the backup is essentially a snapshot of what the website looked like at that 2 a.m. So if you've made half a dozen sales since 2 and we restore a backup, those sales, technically you've got the money, but the data, the customer information is no longer in the database because we've restored that backup. So the hourly backups will allow us to, as soon as we notice an issue, roll it back to the point where that issue is no longer on the website, and then we can start taking steps to fix it. So that prevents data loss, and as I said, it's a very useful for people who run e-commerce sites. At the same time, we've got there obviously proactive form testing, broken link checks, and priority support. So if you do notice an issue or you need to get in touch with someone, you sort of jump the queue and get straight through to us.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. If you've got the type of business that can do without your website for a few hours or so, then you can probably rely on the Security Plus. But if the website is doing sales transactions for you every hour of the day, then the Ultimate plan gives you an additional level of security. Andy, are there things that people can do themselves to keep their website, trim and in shape? Or is it really best to get on one of these plans and take the load off their shoulders in terms of the expertise?
Look, running a website isn't rocket science, but what helps with these packages is they're primarily, we've set them up to be automated. So you can log into your website and take a backup using a backup plugin. But if you forget to do it one day, then all of a sudden your backups are that day or that week or that month out of date. So things like security monitoring, uptime monitoring, that sort of thing, we can actually automatically ensure that if ever there's an issue, we get notified and jump on the problem even before you've noticed, type of thing. So that's where this package has really come into its own. As I said, it's not rocket science, where it's something that's available for everyone to do, but unless you're doing it on a daily basis, then you're not getting that benefit. So for a relatively small investment, $89, which is currently discounted down from $110, you're getting overwhelming value. And even again, if you look at those plugin licenses, that pays for itself over the course of a year. We've had every now and then someone decides, oh look, maybe we can do that ourselves. We'll take a look at it. Thanks for your help. And we've had to say, well, look, we're going to have to remove the licenses on these plugins. And then when they take a look at that, they're like, actually, maybe it's pretty good value. The cost of those licenses, and then all the other benefits that we get using the ExiCare plan.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Really appreciate the overview. Any closing thoughts on the essentials of websites and WordPress?
Look, we've talked a little bit of doom and gloom about WordPress, and I think the question that often comes up is like, is WordPress actually insecure? Is there an issue with WordPress? Maybe we should be looking at something else. And the problem isn't WordPress. The problem is it's so popular that it's just become a big target. So if you were a hacker and you were writing a hacking tool to try and get access to a website, you'd pick the biggest target. And as I mentioned earlier, WordPress is currently 40% of the entire internet. So you have a lot of different websites that you can try and poke holes in. And some of the log files, I log in and see all these, constantly various what could potentially be vulnerabilities being probed. They're going to a URL that doesn't exist, hoping that this out-of-date plugin is on your site, that they can access it via some vulnerability in that plugin. So look, if nothing's ever happened to your WordPress website, that is great news. But if you look under the hood, you will actually notice that there are a lot of not so nice people out there that are constantly, trying to get access to WordPress websites. Now, again, sometimes it's to deface them, but more often than not these days, it's to use the power of that web host to send spam or to run a denial of service attack on someone else. So often you're not the target. It's nothing personal. It's just like, hey, you're using a tool that we know how to try and compromise. And we're going to then, once we get access to that, we're going to use that. So the bottom line is, if your website's kept up to date, if you've got your backups, and if it's constantly being monitored, very rarely do we ever have any of our customers hacked. And if that does happen for whatever reason, we're on it straight away and we can have it fixed in a matter of a couple of hours.
Love your work, and a big thank you to all of the ExiCare team, to Andy, Mikey, and Scott. Certainly you are the team that actually really make a difference. Well, Andy, we must get you back again and maybe tackle some of these other issues in terms of support. So maybe you can keep an ear out to what Excite Media clients are interested in knowing, and we'll get you back on the kick at some point in the future.
Absolutely. Love to do it.
Well, it's great to get the inside knowledge from the people that are actually dealing with our customers on the front line. It's one of the great services. A lot of small agencies don't have the ability to have a support team. With ExiCare and the people that we've got, Andy, Mikey, and Scott, you've got people there that can help, as well as our project managers and team. They often handle a lot of customer inquiries and deal with things on the spot, which is absolutely fantastic. Well, appreciate having you on the show today. It's been fantastic to get some insights to the ExiCare. Remember that you can actually go to the website and have a look at those plans. There is the address, excitemedia.com.au/ExiCare-plans, or get in touch with us by email and we'll happily point you to the right plan that will work for you. We'll see you next week on The Kick.